There's a moment you keep having. Maybe it's 11 p.m., phone in hand, scrolling past a version of your life you almost had. Maybe it's the drive home from a job you're good at and can't stand. Maybe it's just a quiet Tuesday when nothing is wrong and you still feel like you're waiting for your life to start. You tell yourself you want to change. You've told yourself that for years. You've bought the books, started the mornings, made the list. And some part of you, the part that's honest at 11 p.m., knows the truth. You don't actually believe it's going to happen. Not really. Not this time either. That feeling has a name. Not laziness. Not lack of discipline. Something older and stranger. And today, we're going to name it properly. Here's what you've probably been told the problem is. You need more willpower, better habits, a clearer system. Wake up earlier, journal more, cut out the noise, stack the small wins until they become a new identity. This is the entire self-improvement industry's answer to why you haven't changed. You simply haven't tried hard enough, correctly enough, consistently enough. It's a seductive diagnosis because it's flattering in a strange way. It means you're one better routine away from becoming who you're supposed to be. It means the only thing standing between you and transformation is effort. And effort is something you can control, or at least something you can buy. Another course, another planner, another 5 a.m. alarm. But you already know this isn't it. You've had the willpower, you've followed the system. For 11 days, or 31, or once for an entire spring. And then quietly, without any dramatic collapse, you were back. Not because you're weak, because the diagnosis was never right. Carl Jung spent his life studying something the self-help industry mostly ignores. You are not one unified thing trying to become a better version of itself. You are a system in equilibrium, a system that has organized itself over years around keeping you safe. And the person you say you want to become is often, to this system, a threat. Jung called the unacknowledged, unlived parts of yourself the shadow. Not evil, just unconscious. The traits, desires, and capacities you learned early on were not safe to show. And here's the part that reframes everything. The self you're trying to build through willpower is usually built on top of the same foundation that's been quietly protecting you your whole life. You're not fighting laziness. You're fighting an identity that was constructed, brick by brick, to keep you from being hurt, rejected, or exposed again. This is why willpower alone fails. You're not under-resourced. You're outmatched. One conscious decision against decades of unconscious architecture, built by a version of you who had very good reasons for building it. Think about the procrastinator who is actually terrified of being seen trying and failing, so not finishing protects them from ever being truly judged. Think about the person who can't stop overworking, who isn't chasing success so much as running from the silence where an old, unbearable feeling of not enough would otherwise catch up to them. Think about the person who sabotages every relationship right when it gets close, because closeness once meant danger, and the nervous system remembers what the conscious mind has long forgotten. None of them lack willpower. Each of them has built an entire self around solving a problem they can no longer see, because it happened too long ago and too young to be stored as memory. It's stored as personality. You see this every day if you know where to look. The friend who says they want a relationship and somehow is only ever attracted to people who are unavailable. That's not bad luck. That's a system ensuring the outcome it secretly expects, and secretly, at some level, needs, stays consistent with what it already believes about love. The colleague who talks about wanting to lead, to be visible, to finally be recognized, and who, every single time an opportunity for visibility appears, finds a reason it's not quite the right moment. That's not humility. That's an old agreement. Stay small, stay safe. And you, the goal you've circled for years without moving toward. The version of your life that feels both completely obvious and completely out of reach. Ask yourself, honestly, not what would it take to get there, but what would it cost to actually have it? What would you have to give up believing about yourself? Who would you have to stop being loyal to? Because transformation isn't just addition. It's often the quiet, disloyal act of leaving behind a self that other people and other versions of you have depended on. This is why real change feels less like motivation and more like grief. You're not just building something new, you're losing something old, something that, however painful, was at least familiar. And the psyche does not surrender the familiar without a fight, even when the familiar is what's been hurting you. So if willpower isn't the mechanism, what is? Jung's answer was not to defeat the shadow, but to know it. Not to eliminate the parts of yourself doing the sabotaging, hiding, protecting, but to bring them into conscious relationship. Because an unconscious pattern controls you completely. A conscious one you can finally negotiate with. This is the part almost nobody tells you. The goal isn't to become someone without fear, without old wounds, without the parts of you that flinch and retreat and self-protect. The goal is to stop being run by them without your knowledge. There's a profound difference between a fear that drives from the driver's seat and a fear that rides quietly in the back, acknowledged while you drive. Practically, this starts with a question most people never ask. What is this pattern trying to protect me from? Not, why am I like this? That question invites shame. But what was this trying to do for me once? That question invites understanding. And understanding, unlike willpower, doesn't run out. The procrastinator who finally asks this discovers the fear was never about the task. It was about being seen failing in front of people whose approval once determined whether they were safe. The overworker discovers the silence they're avoiding isn't empty. It's where an old belief about their worth is still waiting, unresolved. Once seen, these patterns lose some of their grip. Not all at once, not permanently, but enough. Here's what nobody shows you about people who've actually changed. Not performed change for a season, but changed. They don't look like people who have defeated their old selves. They look like people who have made peace with them. They still feel the pull toward the old pattern. The instinct to hide, to overwork, to disappear right before intimacy arrives. But there's a pause now where there wasn't one before. A half second of recognition. Oh, there it is. That didn't exist when the pattern ran the show unchallenged. That half second is the entire difference between a life lived on repeat and a life that's actually moving. Integration doesn't feel like triumph. It feels quieter than that, closer to self-respect. It's the version of you who can hold both the ambition and the fear of it, both the desire for closeness and the old alarm bells it sets off, without needing either one to disappear before you're allowed to act. You didn't fail to transform because you didn't want it enough, or work hard enough, or find the right system. You failed because you were trying to overpower a self that was built with great care by an earlier version of you trying to survive something. That self doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to be understood, thanked even, and then, gently, outgrown. The question was never, how do I become someone new? It's, what have I been protecting myself from, and is it still true? Sit with that one tonight. Not to solve it by morning, just to finally ask it.